Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg. Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg. Greta yelling at the UN about climate change.
Greta Thunberg. I think she's 16 now.
Greta Thunberg, if I'm saying that correctly.
Greta Thunberg.
This is Greta.
Greta Thunberg.
Who even are you?
Greta Thunberg.
The 16-year-old Swedish activist Greta Thunberg.
She seems like a very happy young girl, looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. So nice to see.
Greta.
She has Asperger's syndrome.
So she's got Asperger's.
She has OCD as well, and selective mutism.
Oh my God, Ghazi, don't go off on Greta. Don't go off on Greta. Aquaba, y'all, I'm gonna go off on Greta.
You're a grown man and you're attacking a child. Shame on you.
Well, at least she didn't advocate cannibalism.
Who the fuck is Greta Thunderbird and why should we give a shit? Let me tell you about this video's sponsor, then we'll find out. Over the last 30 days, Capital One, the Central Bank of Europe, and the great state of Texas have all been hacked in major data breaches. This is starting to get really out of control. Who's going to be next? One of the best things you can do to help protect yourself online is to invest in a VPN or virtual private network. This allows you to create a secure connection to another network over the internet. VPNs can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes, whether on a public Wi-Fi connection, in a foreign country, or just at home. To get started, just go to hidewithbear.com, download the free 30-day Virtual Shield trial and hit connect. This month, Virtual Shield is offering their anniversary special of 30% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, Residential Access and VIP performance plans for as low as a cup of coffee. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what all the hype is about. You've got nothing to lose. So as you're probably aware, 16-year-old Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg made a passionate and scathing speech at the UN's recent Climate Action Summit in New York. But who is this girl? What's her background? Wikipedia says in part, Greta Thunberg was born on the 3rd of January 2003 in Stockholm, the daughter of opera singer Melina Ernman and actor Svante Thunberg. Her paternal grandfather is actor and director Olof Thunberg. She says she first heard about climate change in 2011 when she was 8 years old and couldn't understand why so little was being done about it. 3 years later, she became depressed and lethargic, stopped talking and eating, and was eventually diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and selective mutism. While acknowledging that her diagnosis has limited her before, she doesn't view her Asperger's as an illness and has instead called it her superpower. For about 2 years, Thunberg challenged her parents to lower the family's carbon footprint by becoming vegan and giving up flying, which in part meant her mother had to give up her international career as an opera singer. In late 2018, Thunberg began the school climate strikes and public speeches for which she's become an internationally recognised climate activist. Her father doesn't like her missing school but said, "We respect that she wants to make a stand. She can either sit at home and be really unhappy or protest and be happy." Thunberg says her teachers are divided in their views about her missing class to make her point. She says, "As people, they think what I'm doing is good, but as teachers, they say I should stop." Now, I'm not just going to sit here and take the piss out of this girl. She's obviously got her own personal issues and is clearly passionate about what she believes. But when she's put front and centre at a UN summit and her message is thrust upon the world the way it has been, it's only fair to scrutinise the message. So let's have a look at Greta Thunberg's UN speech.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here.
I tend to agree. You'd think the main spotlight at a UN climate summit would be on, I don't know, a climatologist or something, instead of a 16-year-old activist.
I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying.
People have always been suffering and dying. People will always be suffering and dying. It's just part of being a people. I mean, if this girl has some way to prevent people from suffering and dying, then I'm all ears. But she doesn't.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Gee, that emotion seems really played up. I wonder if that's got anything to do with her actor dad and her director grandfather. Also, economic growth is pretty important if we want to fund future eco-friendly technological advances.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear.
I don't think it has been, though. The science and predictions keep changing. Now, I'm not saying that man doesn't contribute to climate change. I just don't know how much he contributes to climate change. I think it's good to take steps to reduce your carbon footprint, but I probably wouldn't get off my ass and take those steps unless there was something extra in it for me. I drive a 4-cylinder car because I don't do a lot of driving and it works out much cheaper. I'm having solar panels installed on my roof this week because it'll drastically reduce my power bill. I eat kangaroo steak every now and then because the cunts are fucking everywhere. It tastes nice and it's cheaper than beefsteak.
How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight?
What politics are needed, Greta? And when do you think we'll get a glimpse of these solutions?
You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
So get on board with what I'm saying or you're evil? By the way, I'm not really saying anything super clear, but agree or you're evil? Is that what I'm to be taking from this?
The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist.
Don't you have a big fuck-off yacht? I mean, I understand yachts don't guzzle jet fuel, but I'm willing to bet the manufacturing of that yacht resulted in a shitload more emissions than a few seats on a few commercial flights. I mean, should everyone just stop flying and get a yacht? That doesn't seem very practical.
So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today, that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons.
Well, I think you should be having a quiet word with China and India on that one.
How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions?
Okay, well, if economic growth and technical solutions are off the table, that would really only leave massive population reduction, wouldn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong, every cloud's got a silver lining. We wouldn't need to build nearly as many yachts.
With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Venomous.
We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up. And change is coming whether you like it or not.
What sort of change, Greta? What are the solutions here? I mean, all I heard you say was, how dare you, you're doing it all wrong, you people have ruined my hopes and dreams, now get on board my yacht or you are evil. There's an interesting clip going around of a young girl making almost the same speech as Greta at a UN conference in 1992. I'll let it take us out. Thanks for watching.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Setti, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways. Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda. I am fighting for my future. Losing my future is not like losing an election or a few points on the stock market. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. I used to go fishing in Vancouver, my home, with my dad, until just a few years ago we found the fish full of cancers. And now we hear of animals and plants going extinct every day, vanishing forever. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see. Did you have to worry of these things when you were my age? All this is happening before our eyes, and yet we act as if we have all the time we want and all the solutions. I'm only a child, and I don't have all the solutions. But I want you to realize, neither do you. You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring the salmon back up a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back the forest that once grew where there is now a desert. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. In my anger, I am not blind, and in my fear, I am not afraid of telling the world how I feel. In my country, we make so much waste. We buy and throw away, buy and throw away, buy and throw away, and yet northern countries will not share with the needy. Even when we have more than enough, we are afraid to share. We are afraid to let go of some of our wealth. Parents should be able to comfort their children by saying, everything's going to be all right. It's not the end of the world, and we're doing the best we can. But I don't think you can say that to us anymore. Are we even on your list of priorities? My dad always says, you are what you do, not what you say. Well, what you do makes me cry at night. You grown-ups say you love us, but I challenge you, please, make your actions reflect your words. Thank you.
Recession, session,